April 7th Economic Development Council meeting, 2021 at 6 o'clock. Ask you all to please mute your microphones unless speaking. I'm going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So I'm going to read a much smaller version of the right to know checklist. Yes. So in accordance with Governor's Emergency Order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, the Goffstown Economic Development Council will utilize emergency meeting provisions of RSA 92-A to conduct meetings through electronic means while preserving, to the extent feasible, the public's right to notice of such meetings and ability to observe and listen contemporaneously. Public access meeting by telephone, call 603-766-JOIN or 5646, participant code 785-645#. Problems with access. Members of the public experiencing problems with access during the meeting are asked to call 603-660-5000.
Greg?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I heard you read RSA 92-A. I don't know if that's right or if my paper's wrong. My paper says 91-A.
If I said 92-A, I meant to say 91-A.
Okay. I didn't want us in trouble.
The meeting is blown up now.
Okay.
All right. So I wasn't at the last EDC. I was presenting at the National School District School Board. So I can put up for the acceptance of minutes. I'm just going to abstain from vote.
Sure. I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes from March 3rd, 2021.
I'll second, Ellen.
Okay. So we'll start
Mr.
with,
Chair?
Yes.
We might want to do roll call first. I'm sorry.
Oh, right.
You're right.
I didn't see roll on the agenda. My apologies. So Joanne Duffy,
Here.
Chet Bowen,
Chet Bowen, Select Board Rep, only person in the room.
Charlie,
Birchmeyer here, only person in the room.
Jeremy Jones,
Jeremy Jones, only person in the room.
Ellen.
Ellen from Markowitz, and I'm alone.
All right. I'm Greg Rodriguez. I'm the chair, and I'm the only one in the room. Okay. Now we can move.
Reinstate my motion, Mr. Chair.
All right. Your motion is reinstated. Do I have a second? I think
Yes.
Ellen seconded. Okay. Joanne,
Yes.
Chet,
Yes.
Charlie,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Ellen.
Yes.
All right, and I abstain my vote. So it looks like approval of the minutes carries for the exception of the meeting on 3/3/2021. All right, so it is awesome to have some guests for the Economic Development Council meeting. I saw a post on Facebook by Sarah, and I wanted to reach out to see if she wanted to join us for the beautification of Pinardville. So, Sarah, how you doing? You
I'm
are
good.
on.
Can you hear me okay? Oh,
Yeah, we can hear you. Yep.
thank you. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Sarah.
Very nice to meet everyone.
Very nice to meet you too.
I believe Alex is on the phone, if we could just confirm that.
Okay,
Alex,
I
are
am.
you? Okay, good. Okay.
excellent. Awesome. All right. So I reached out to both Alex and Sarah to see if they wanted to join us for the Economic Development Council meeting because I saw some posts on Facebook about the beautification of Pinardville, and I was wondering how we as a committee could help out with that. So if you would just wanted to share your thoughts and what you want to achieve with the beautification project, that'd be great.
Alex, do you want me to talk first, or did you want to?
No, you go ahead, Sarah. I can talk after you.
Okay, certainly. So I initiated a post in regards to Pinardville because me and my husband, Charlie, or Costa, we run Charlie's of Goffstown, which is a restaurant. And we recently made a purchase of a building on Mast Road, right on the corner of Pinard Street, Cody's Old Diner. And we're in the process of, I'll call it resurrecting it because there's a lot of work to be done, but that's okay. And I just was kind of looking around and I realized that I really like the look of downtown. Main Street is beautiful, looks nice and homey. But then when you're kind of in our neck of the woods, it's a little less attractive. And I thought, well, I'm interested. I live in Pinardville, and I enjoy, working with the public and helping and running things. And my background is in marketing and business development and sales. So I figure it's kind of a good fit to help out and try to, get people together in that local area and make a difference. I really haven't thought about 100% exactly what I wanted to do. I saw that Alex on the Facebook post really took the bull by the horns and really wanted to, start something. And I thought, wow, that's amazing, because my heart is to see the place, spruced up, so to speak. And I think that she initiated possibly starting a committee and doing all sorts of things. And I think this is probably the first time I haven't had a private one-on-one conversation with Alex. So this is our first time kind of communicating together. And I'm sure after this, we'll be meeting up and we'll probably even get some ideas together of how we like to move forward. But just really excited to see, some of the same kind of things that we see in the Main Street area move up to Pinardville. And, so when you're coming through Pinardville, which I call it the gateway to Goffstown, or I call it sometimes the other Main Street, just would be nice to have, it looks similar and just be, more welcoming.
All right. Just give me 1 second. I'm taking notes
Yeah,
as you're
I think
speaking. All right, go ahead, Alex. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were taking notes. I apologize. I think Sarah really summed it up. I'm also a resident of the Pinardville side. Fairly new, been here 6 years. I sat on Parks and Rec. I sit on the MVP for Mountain View. I chair multiple different committees. I have background in marketing and finance. Strange background, I know, but here we are. And I have a list of about 12 people, Pinardville residents, that are looking to kind of help this grassroots effort. I actually didn't even realize there was this committee, which is shame on me, I suppose. So I'm not truthfully sure, A, what really happens on this committee, how you can help us. But I was really going to just work with residents locally in the Pinardville side, because I think Sarah touched upon a few things. We all know that Pinardville is kind of like a redhead stepchild to Goffstown. And if you live here, you totally understand that. If you don't, you try and say, oh, no, we all want you. But it's not. Once you cross the 114 lights, I would say crossing the train tracks, it's like a whole other world over here, which it has its own amazing qualities. But the Mass Road is just dilapidated. And I think a large push needs to be on businesses and owners, because I'm sure a lot of them lease, to really kind of fix their signage, which is expensive, to do what they can to help it and spruce it up. Just even those small touches, I think, from a landowner, them doing it versus, something that I could do or Sarah could do or a committee could do, would be very helpful. And I think that even just paying any attention to Pinardville would be really nice, and I think really well received from a lot of the residents here. I'm sure that, if the committee obviously came from Facebook, but if I went door to door, we have such an older population on this side. I'm sure there's plenty of people and business owners that would love to pitch in and help, just to try and clean it up a bit. Even just picking up trash. There's a lot of walking traffic on that Mass Road. We're definitely closer to Manchester. We're close to the rail trail. People hop on, hop off, which is great for the businesses. But they leave their trash behind. So I think there's a lot of little things that can be done to boost it. I don't know, I don't know, because we're kind of our own little unique area, if there was any grants out there that we could be looking for, because we're more urban than I think rural, so I have a friend that's looking into that for us. But, this is really exciting for me to be joining you guys. So, I'd love to just sit back and listen to what this council does do. And offer, any advice you guys have or thoughts on where we should start is, appreciated.
Awesome. Thanks. Sarah, did you want anything onto that or
No, I thought that was great. Thank you, Alex.
cool?
Thank you, sir.
Joanne, did you want to answer what committee and what your office does through Goffstown?
Sure. The Economic Development Council is actually one of the subcommittees of the Select Board, and it's a volunteer board. It's appointed by the Select Board, and people normally serve for roughly 3 years. And they also have alternates, which also serve for the same amount of time period. So each year, different people are appointed based on when the terms expire. And so they've taken on different projects over I think they've been in existence for maybe 20 years. I'm not exactly sure. But they've taken on several projects over the past years that I'm aware of. There's a sign as you're entering Goffstown on 114 coming from Bedford. They were able to secure that sign and have it installed. Welcome to Goffstown sign. So it's quite nice looking. It took a long time. The other things they've done is they've met with various business owners, trying to find out. At that time, there was kind of a lag with the planning board approving plans in a timely manner, and members of the Economic Development Committee went out and met with the various business owners to find out what their issues were, and then brought it back and talked about how things could be made better. So some of those suggestions were implemented. They've also had, there used to be, unfortunately it doesn't happen any longer, but there used to be a business expo at the high school once a year in the spring, and the committee would attend and have a table and talk to people and, find out what the business needs were. We do have a contract with UNH Cooperative Extension, and it was supposed to start up a little, I would say, roughly about a year ago. And then COVID hit and everything was put on hold. But the contract is for UNH Cooperative to organize roundtable discussions with the Pinardville business owners, and small roundtables, not too large, and talk to them one-on-one and find out what the town can do to help them, what their needs are, and we can try to steer them in the right direction as to what their issues may be and how the town could be helpful with trying to get some of those problems solved. Unfortunately, like I said, that was put on the sidelines for now, but we still do have that contract, and we're planning to move forward in the future, engaging with the business owners and UNH Cooperative. So they've kind of done a little bit here and there with different projects along the way. Can anybody think of anything else? Maybe Ellen, you might remember what this committee has done.
As you're saying it, things are coming back to me, but right now I can't. I know there was a big push, and I think I saw it on the Pinardville Discussion Facebook page about helping that unity kind of feeling of having one zip code. I know that might sound silly, but and I know there's a time requirement since the last vote or whatever, but that might go a long way to help bring us together in some way.
The last time they tried, the business owners were against it because they wanted to have a zip code that looked like they were in Manchester. So that there was a vote, and they actually came out and voted against it. But there is a time frame. The post office has a time frame as to when you can bring it forward again and try, and it's quite lengthy. I don't remember exactly, but I think it may have been even 10 years or something like that. And also the town report comes out every year, and you can pick it up at the election, at the Bartlett School election polling places. a polling place. Sorry, there's one at the high school as well. And in there is a report from the Economic Development Council, and it will list all of the things that they've accomplished year to year. So if you need more information, I can certainly look through those books and find out some other things that they've done in the past.
I see Chet has a question, or he's raising his hand for a comment.
I was raising my hand for a comment. So first, Sarah and Alex, thank you both so much for being a guest of EDC. I think Joanne did a really nice job just now explaining some of the things that we have done. But it's clear to me that you two are looking at what can be done going forward. So I'd like to address a couple of things there. One, the EDC, of course, enthusiastically supports all businesses in Goffstown. I think Alex, mentioning, that once you cross that 114, there might be like sort of that separation. I can tell you from my perspective, I really wish that weren't true, and I hope that I can be part of making that not true going forward. One thing I will suggest is that the EDC have some meetings over at Bartlett School. I think that was done before. I think we can move that and invite specifically some of the people that you pulled together, Alex and Sarah, via Facebook to come attend and talk about that. There is a number of options available to businesses, so I'm gonna talk about two things as quickly as I possibly can. One, there's something called the 79E. And that is specifically designed to provide some tax relief for businesses that want to do some beautification or want to, maybe look at their storefront or look at their signs or do specific things that will improve the look or the facade of the business itself. And part of me believes that might be one of the best ways for the group of people that you're with to get that message out to the business owners. I know Joanne is very schooled in how this works and can help them through the process and would be happy to do so. And anyone on the EDC would be more than happy to walk with you to some of these businesses and talk to them about that. I believe the more business owners that understand this exists can also see the value in what your goal is, Sarah and Alex. And I think that might be a good way to go about it. Maybe, Joanne, don't hurt me, but maybe even given that this is such a large project and I think it goes beyond beautification. It goes to Alex's point about the separation. We could even have that group look at the zip code issue. We could have that group look at just the general attitude of the separation and potentially develop an ad hoc committee with an EDC member as a part of it to really take a look. I mean, I think this is absolutely wonderful that this is a topic of conversation tonight. The other piece I wanted to mention for you was that the EDC historically had some really large goals. I think so large that it became overwhelming and almost paralyzing. So one of the things that Greg, Joanne, and I talked about before we started a couple of years ago was really small, measurable goals where we can decide whether or not the outcomes matched our efforts. And so we looked at a sector by sector approach for the businesses. And what we wanted to do was members of the EDC put all of our efforts into small sections of business within Goffstown at a time and be very transparent about which sections we're taking care of for, say, this 3 months. And part of that was the 79E, making them aware of that, helping them through that process, and even helping get the word out about their business and what they do. We also are trying to catch up with social media. If you stay on, you'll see Jeremy he's done some wonderful work getting us prepared for that, and Joanne has as well, to get businesses involved with the town to say, hey, we're a business in Goffstown. We'd love to talk about our products, and all of them are welcome to do so. And in that sector by sector approach, we still want to do that, but what we have to be careful of is not whether we mean to or not show preference towards one business or another. And during the COVID crisis, we made a choice to back up off that sector by sector approach because whoever we worked with first would technically have some sort of advantage that way. So once things normalize a little bit, we will be returning to that. And that ad hoc committee, saying maybe we do one, could look at 79E and help get the word out to those businesses, help with that sector by sector approach, and certainly look at that zip code issue. That zip code issue is a real thing. And I believe Joanne was incredibly polite and diplomatic about this, and thank you, Joanne, but I also believe certain businesses were told things that may not be necessarily accurate about what that process would look like. And some of the business owners may have become a little bit, like, oh, no, we don't have time for that. We don't have the money for that. That's a process. It really isn't. But unfortunately, I do think there is that timeline to look at. So with that ad hoc committee, I think those are 3 things that you could do an ad hoc committee and have a member of the EDC on it with you to really focus on that and take a look. Or just work with the EDC without an ad hoc, and maybe that can be maybe one of our focus. So with that, I hope that that's helpful. And I think it's awesome that you guys are our guests today and speaking to that issue.
Thank you. Yeah, that was actually really helpful. I had a feeling that a lot of what you guys touched upon was truly what I thought this council was for. And I'm really happy that you guys do understand that the zip code is obviously the major issue over on this side of the town, which is not something, a beautification committee can really address. My goal is to really unify Pinardville and I don't want to create its own little town. I actually hate that about Pinardville, even as much as I love the interlocking neighborhoods. And, my neighbors have been here for 60 years on my street. It's wild. I really feel the division, especially having a child in school, between Bartlett and Mays and, even voting, wherever it is, it is a huge difference. So I do appreciate that you guys have acknowledged that. And I do think that this really could be great. I love the ad hoc idea. I'd love to get involved, Joanne, if you'll be willing to chat maybe on the side via email about your knowledge. Sure. I would take any help that we can get, especially coming from, there's some very talented ladies that I know are willing to help out over here that have different backgrounds. One of them right now is working for the town of Portsmouth for something housing, promoting housing for lower income and things like that. So there's a lot of, skill set that we have on this committee, but I don't want to move forward without anyone's, permission or, without you guys really knowing what we're trying to do and not have you be a part of it.
Excellent. Thank you, Alex. Charlie?
Yeah, I was just going to say that as far as talking to businesses and stuff like that goes, that I am very interested in being the council member that helps with this whole project. I like that there's kind of the quaint, old-timey side of Goffstown, and then kind of the Mass Road where it's more of the commercial businesses. I mean, I live at Grassmere, so I'm kind of not really part of either. But if we could help unify all of that, that's something that I'm very interested in. So I don't know about as far as zip codes and stuff like that goes, but as far as talking to businesses and, kind of informing them of what the options are out there, I'm very interested. So I just wanted to throw my hat in the ring.
Charlie, just so happens you bring that up because Chet and I were talking last week, and we actually penciled in a day for Saturday, April 17th to take a walk down on Main Street and Mass Road. So of businesses and just popping in, just, seeing how they're doing and through the whole process. Anybody in this committee can join us, but it's just something we had preliminary planned.
Yeah, no, I would love to.
Okay.
So just send me the information and I can.
Okay. Probably get some walking. If you want to get some walking shoes too.
I'll be sure to do that.
All right.
So I just wanted to mention this one thing that bothers me very much. When I first moved here, and it's still the same, it hasn't changed. When I first moved here, I didn't know anything about the town. I didn't know where the streets were or the neighborhoods or anything. And as you drive down 114, you come to 114A or the opposite, there's a sign and it says Goffstown, and there's an arrow, and I think it says something like 5 miles. And it bothers me because I said to myself as a new person, what do they mean Goffstown 5 miles? I thought I was in Goffstown. So about a year or two ago, I called the DOT And I said, do you think there's a possibility that we can have that sign changed to read Goffstown Village 5 miles? And they were very impolite and basically said no. And I think it's a possibility if you talk to the right person. But I think just little things like that, you know, divide. When you see Goffstown 5 miles and you're living the other way and you're saying, well, what am I? It's not Goffstown. So I think that's confusing, especially to newer people moving in.
That's a good point.
That's a good point, yeah.
It's been bugging me for 36 years.
I can tell it's still bugging you, Joanna. Charlie, you have your hand raised again. Did you want to say something else?
I didn't raise my hand again. If I did, it was a mistake.
Okay.
So wait, no,
Yeah.
It does say it's raised. Okay, I just lowered it. Sorry.
That's fine. Alex and Sarah, did you want to have anything else you wanted to add? Besides side communication with Joanne and maybe Charlie?
I just wanted to mention that was great attention to detail, Joanne. I hadn't noticed that, but if I had seen it, because I live kind of on the Pinardville side, I probably would be like, oh, interesting. You know, or if I was coming to a town and it was pointing me in one direction, I would be driving that way. And if somebody told me that,
Right.
if I'm telling someone that my business is in Goffstown and they're coming to see me and it's on this road and they see a sign that says Goffstown and they drive into Main Street, it's the total opposite direction. So if they're
Right.
just going by like a sign. So I think
Right.
that attention to detail is really good. And it's not something I thought about. And I think that I'm not that familiar with the issues with the zip code. But I did like Charlie's comment about talking to the businesses. And I would love to hear more about the 79E now that I'm going to be a business right on, you know, owning a building, and I want to make, you know, an investment in the building and in the town, and I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can. So we might be a good business to talk to right off to start.
I think a good case study as well for a kind of a business moving just even a little bit closer to the Manchester line. But yeah, I think it's a good opportunity here.
Sarah, I'll send you the information and you can take a look at it.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well,
I
do you have
did wanna
anything else you
mention
want?
one more.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I can't raise my hand over here on the phone. I apologize. This is Alex. Raise it, it just wasn't seen. I did want to mention too, Sarah and I have chatted on the side, and I've talked to others. You know, a lot of this also came just not from beautifying Pinardville, but to really, you know, we had a business owner, Cabinets for Less, who doesn't really have, she's in where, what's the restaurant right there?
Bag Lunch?
Yvonne Thai. Yeah, Bag Lunch, thank you. I couldn't even think of it. Gosh, all I could think of was Fish Fridays. And she's in that area, and she says people never know she's there. So we had thought about an idea of doing like how you guys are doing. Actually, it was you that gave me the idea of doing that bingo, which I'm loving, by the way. Doing like around the world for Pinardville night, and trying to engage businesses to like open their doors and, you know, try and pick up around their doors and welcome people just walking, because it is a walkable area. Many people do walk Mass Road, you know, it's not long to go from one end to the other before you have to turn around. But something like that I thought would be really great, and maybe that is you guys and not me. You know, I did love seeing, you know, the Pinardville businesses on the bingo. I fully expected to see village businesses on it. So bravo to you guys for doing that. I love it. But other than that, no, I'd love to chat with Joanne on the side, and, you know, Sarah and I will connect, and I'm, you know, really grateful that you guys invited us. So thank you.
Excellent. Ellen, you have something you want to say?
Yes, I drive through Pinardville all the time. And one of the things might be something the beautification committee could be doing is contacting RDPW and looking at the repair or making the sidewalks and curbing more attractive. I mean, let's remember this, we have a 3-lane highway going through this part of town. It's not like you can run across the street just about at any time, and it's extremely busy. We think out here in the village, we think we're busy. But the traffic in the Penardville section of our town is even more. I was thinking, and I have seen the roads, hopefully I know they're being addressed this year through DPW. The roads, you're talking about walking, it's wonderful to have neighborhoods like that, to be able to literally walk around a block, okay? And I grew up in a place where you could do that. You had blocks, you could walk around, but you couldn't in many of those streets because it was downright dangerous because of the either the lack of sidewalks or the road condition. But when you drive down Mass Road, it's sometimes the sidewalks and the curbing leave something to be desired. There's also, there's a great deal of history in Penardville. And there might be something maybe that can be done to help in the beautification of recognizing historic locations and historic buildings. Might be very helpful. It is a long stretch of road. And I don't know if the approach should be section by section for the beautification or not, because there are a lot of individual homes along Mass Road, in between the businesses and all the way along. And then we have mini malls type areas, strip mall type areas as well. But I do know, I have researched Goffstown and Penardville's history, and it's very interesting. I feel for the people who feel that they're, I really don't like the term, the stepchildren or the redheaded cousins or something. I moved here 42 years ago, and I never considered Penardville, Grassmere, Parker Station, Goffstown Village to be anything but Goffstown until I joined clubs and community service organizations, and I started hearing this thing about this separation, and it never came from somebody other than people that live in Penardville. And I'm like, here I am, new to the town, and why are you telling me you're something different? My mind is we're one town. And it really bothers me as someone who views our town that way, that anybody thinks that they're different or is propagating the idea that there's something different. Historically, I can understand it. I understand the history of the development out of Manchester with the mills and the mill housing and so on and so forth. And it's much more urban as being so close to Manchester than the outlying area in the village is. So maybe something with the history of the area. I don't know what, signage, I don't know, have any idea. I know there are some historic locations along Mass Road in Penardville. And maybe going step by step, section by section with the beautification, planting, mulching, whatever, and maybe working with DPW to get a few things happening. That's just my thoughts.
Thank you all. Does anybody want to add anything else? Okay. Sarah and Alex, you're more than welcome to stay if you'd like. But yeah, we'll get back to you. And I really, I think I speak for all of us when I say we really appreciate, you coming on and joining us in this meeting. This has been great. Took a lot of notes to see how we can do this and to help out businesses in the area. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank
All right.
you.
Feel free to come back anytime. This is a very open committee, and we appreciate guests coming. So
Thank you for the invitation.
all right. Excellent. All right. Thank you very much. Have a good day or night.
You too.
All right. So we're going to move on to old business. Jeremy, you have an update on social media plan?
Yeah, I don't know about an update. So at our last meeting, I know you weren't here, Greg. At our last meeting, I was discussing some of the different ways that we can utilize social media, and Chet had asked if I would put some of those thoughts into writing, so I did, and I sent that out to Joanne. But Joanne, I don't know if that ever got disseminated to the other members.
Yes, it did. Chet and I went over it first, and then I sent it out to the entire board.
Okay, excellent, thank you. So basically, it's a humongous word salad with a pretty comprehensive approach to how you can do social media effectively. But the first thing I will say is before anyone gets real excited about any of these ideas or anything, social media for social media's sake is a fast path to defeatism. It's very easy to get excited about being able to work a bunch of social channels and thinking that you're going to build a huge following, but if you don't have the right message and if you don't have an audience that's actually interested in what you're putting out there, then you're going to find yourself doing a lot of work with very little ROI. So the purpose of putting this list together, and thank you, Joanne, for sending that out. I'm thankful that you guys can read it and I don't have to narrate it. The purpose of putting this together is so that y'all can sort of see how the different social media channels get best utilized. And maybe in conversation over the next few months, we can think about, are any of these ones that we would want to sort of isolate and say, okay, LinkedIn as an example, is this something that we definitely want to start up a page for ourselves and start putting some content out there and trying to connect with the business community? Instagram, is this something where we as members want to start sort of collecting photos that we take around town of businesses, putting them into a central repository, and then having these daily or weekly or whatever Instagram posts go out that are just fun moments captured in town, right? Because that's kind of how we best utilize Instagram, is with fun content, all of that. So the purpose of all of this was just to offer some guidance on the best use of all the different social media channels and spark a little bit of conversation about what we think we want to do moving forward.
Awesome. Alan?
Yep. Let's say we do a Facebook. My question, and I have a reason for this because of recent history and experience with Facebook. Who would be our target audience? The residents or the businesses or both?
I think that's an excellent question. And I think it's something that we need to give a lot of thought to, because as an economic development council, who do we have the straightest line to? Is it the residents or is it the business owners? My personal opinion is I feel like our straightest line of engagement is to business owners directly. And as a part of economic development, that's sort of what we do, right? Now, I don't know if I'm 100% correct in that. So if there are other opinions, please educate me.
Chet?
I totally agree. As an economic development council, our focus should be on the businesses and and try and get them engaged. If it's Facebook or whatever else we choose to use, if we can think of ways to get the businesses engaged on say, Facebook, it would be great. It's a great communication tool. And we can make it, private group, so only businesses can join it and see it and communicate with each other. I think it would be great. Experience tells me it's difficult. It can be very difficult to get businesses to be willing to participate in that. But I think that's where our focus needs to be, is on our businesses throughout the town. So I would agree with you.
Okay. Chet?
Yeah, I think so. In my brain, when I was looking at this social media piece, my first thought was get connected to the businesses, but all businesses care about, all of them really care about a customer base / revenue stream. So I'd like to see a continuum where we get the businesses on board, but part of getting them on board is showing them how they can then reach their customer base. So I think it's a two-step process. If businesses recognize that by by posting and having Joanne post something about their business that it reaches a customer base, that's great. So the residents certainly can't be ignored. We have to make sure that the businesses understand the value that we bring to them by having them participate in our social media. On a second note, Jeremy, I just want to say thank you for putting everything together. Your knowledge of how these different platforms are used for specifically different things is remarkable, and I think it's going to really serve us well as a council going forward. And I'm hoping that on a monthly basis we can certainly talk about, which is best for whatever time. So thank you so much, Jeremy, for that. And those are my thoughts.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, can I respond to that?
Absolutely.
So the comment about customer engagement being the primary thing that business owners care about, that is 100% true. And my hope is that as we define what our strategy may be in this arena moving forward, yes, that has to be the continuum. I think we also run the risk of trying to boil the ocean if we do too much right up front. So just to qualify my previous statement, that's why I was thinking that if we can focus on the business owners first and sort of start building a line of getting them to understand what the EDC is, how we can help them, what the different things that we actually do in the community are. And let's be honest, that may be some things that we have to define amongst ourselves as well. So it's just going to be a constant conversation of how we best serve the community.
If I may just add something too, I think we're coming out of a good opportunity with coming out of COVID, where businesses are finally seeing some light at the end of the tunnel with the spring and warmer weather and stuff. So I think we may get a little trapped into boiling the ocean a little bit, but I think if we stay measured and direct, especially with the outline of how we can target businesses, I think we should be okay. So. Yeah. All right. Joanne, do you want to update us on restaurant bingo?
Sure.
Oh, you disappeared.
I'm here. So we have had success with the program so far. We will be drawing the week 4 winner on Friday. People have been very excited. The comments that I've received have been very positive. And I was thinking if we have, because we started late, and then the first week we started, we only had 1 winner because we didn't have enough people that had provided their cards yet, because it's hard to fill in all of the 3 or 4 restaurants in 1 week. So I was thinking that we could probably extend this for another maybe 2 weeks into May.
Somebody want to put that in motion?
Good idea.
As long as we have enough prizes, which I think we will.
Do we have? Do we need to add more money into the?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think because we had estimated 2 prizes per week, plus the very last one would be the grand prize. And as the weeks are progressing, we're getting more and more cards handed in. There was some confusion about where the completed cards should go. The union leader had one thing, the WMUR had another thing. And so I think the easiest is for people to just drop it off at the town hall. There's a drop box right out the back door, right inside the back door. They don't have to come up the stairs or see anyone. They can just drop it right in the box and we'll get it the next day. Okay. So people are having fun with it, and we were able to get a lot of publicity. WMUR, the Union Leader, New Hampshire Business Review, and WOKQ. So that was just an added plus, but people are having fun with it. So I think the critical thing now is to try and get the business owners to put something maybe on their Facebook pages about it.
Have we heard from the businesses?
I've talked to several of them because I've had to drop off additional cards, and I've also been calling them on a weekly basis. I don't always speak with the owner, depending on, how busy they are and all of that, but I am checking in.
Okay. So, I mean, I also want to bring something up too. Is this something we want to do annually? If we've gained this much traction the first year, maybe we can possibly, do an annual thing during the same time of the year. When the slowest time for businesses is, and maybe this would be a time where we can actually get some, momentum with it. So it's just an idea. I don't know who raised their hand first, Charlie or Jeremy. So I'm just going to go with Charlie since Jeremy spoke last.
Jeremy actually raised first, so he can go first.
Wow. So I didn't get Chet's admirations at the beginning of the meeting. I didn't get called in order. Wow. Just picking on you. No, I have a question, and then after I get the answer to the question, I'm going to have a comment on that answer. My question is, who handles sending out or otherwise getting in touch with all these news outlets for this sort of a thing on our behalf?
I have been.
You have been, you personally?
Yes.
Okay, so that my follow-up comment then is, thank you so much. Great job. Because I noticed after our last meeting, we were talking about the bingo and everything, and I'm thinking, I left the meeting and I'm thinking to myself, wait, how do we get people to know about this besides just an occasional Facebook post? And then within a few days, I start seeing it all over the news, and I'm going, wow, it's like magic. How did that happen?
You're your own publicist, Joanne.
It really flew like crazy. And I received a phone call yesterday from somebody that's on the Hooksett Economic Development Committee asking me, how do you do this? What do I do? And so he's going to bring it to their board to see if they would like to, because they have lots of restaurants over there, if they would like to do it. So maybe it'll just keep multiplying all around, and more and more people will, yeah.
Well, great job.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jeremy.
I was just saying, great job getting the word out on our behalf. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you. It was fun.
Yeah. Charlie?
I was just going to give some personal feedback, and this isn't as a member of the committee or anything, just I have talked to multiple people who all have thought that this was a great idea. I've heard nothing negative about it.
No.
I spoke to the Blue Moose on Friday, and they had nothing but positive things to say about it. Like, I think that this is something that we should do each year. There's been nothing negative that I've heard about it, and it's one of those things where you can participate, you cannot participate, but the people that are participating seem to be excited about it. So, and it's drawing business. And the business owners are, well, I shouldn't say owners, I've only spoken to one business owner, but they were appreciative of it. So that's just my personal comment.
You know what I think that's happening is, which is a good thing, is that the way the cards are set up, you may not find a row with all restaurants that you're familiar with. So it forces you to try something different. And that's kind of the comments that I've been receiving from people is, I had to go, I didn't know about this place, but I had to go in order to get the bingo. And this was the first winner. And now I know that these restaurants exist and I will be back. So, I mean, that's the goal, is to get the people to come back again. And I think that's what makes it nice.
Do we want to put into motion two things of making this an annual event or an annual series, and then extending it 2 more weeks? I think there'd probably be 2 separate motions, right?
I'll move that we extend it 2 weeks. This is Ellen.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I'll say Jeremy second. You beat you again. All right, Joanne,
Yes.
Chet,
Yes.
Charlie,
Yes.
Ellen.
Yes,
Yep, and then Jeremy.
Yes.
All right, I also vote yes. So motion carries to extend for 2 more weeks.
I'll
Do we
make,
have a second motion?
yeah, I'll
okay.
make a motion that we make Restaurant Bingo an annual event at the same level of funding we did for this year, with the option to add more if necessary.
All right.
at the
And-
same time of year, Chet?
I think Greg made a good, that's a great point, Ellen. I think Greg made a distinction that it's when business is mostly slow. And I think this time of year, like when we started, is probably about the right time. So
Yeah, usually being a veteran of the restaurant industry, it's usually around after Christmas time, January, February, when credit cards are due. So if we're gonna do it, let's try to maybe keep it around that time. So yeah,
call it
Winter.
February.
yeah, winter, later winter or almost early spring. I think this timeline is a good spot.
Okay.
So,
So I amend my motion to say, starting February each year with the same level of funding with the option to add more.
excellent.
I'll second it.
All right,
No one else.
Joanne,
Yes.
Chet,
Yes.
Charlie,
Yes.
Ellen,
Yes,
Jeremy.
Yes.
All right. Did you have another comment, Jeremy? You have your hand raised still? Okay.
I always forget to take my hand down.
Unless you're just trying to wave at me, which is okay too. Okay. All right. So awesome. I'm glad this is really turning out. I think this is a good initiative that we did, and I'm ecstatic it's successful for Goffstown. All right. Last old business is Pinard Roundtable events.
So I included the email from Stephen Mino from Southern, I keep calling it Southern New Hampshire, from UNH Cooperative Extension, about when we could safely do these roundtables, as well as when it would be the most successful. And he's saying that in order to do anything in person, they need approval from the dean. He said another option is doing an outdoor roundtable, which I don't think would be the greatest idea, just because noise and all of that. And then he talked about a virtual roundtable, which I didn't think would be the greatest idea either. I think we want to make face-to-face contact with these people. So my suggestion was to just wait a little bit longer, and I think things are going to start to turn around very soon.
I agree. Do we need to vote on that, or that's just your call type of thing?
It's just if everybody agrees with that, I'll let him know, and then we can just wait. And see what he doesn't have a preference. He just had suggestions, but it doesn't matter to him. We have the contract, and we can just wait until the time is right.
Okay.
I don't think we'll get the biggest bang doing something virtually or outside somewhere in a park or something. I
agree.
think we really have to do it right.
and have food.
Yeah, yes. Always have food for these things. That's how you get them in the door.
Ellen?
My thought was, for the purpose of our minutes, maybe we could just do, by consensus, if there's no objection, we're going to put this on hold and come back to it.
Yeah. So we just table it, or just table it for the next one?
Well, not formal, that requires a vote, but if there's no objection, this committee will just, we'll put it on hold until a future time.
All right. Is there any objection? Okay, we'll put it on hold for a future time. Okay.
The outdoor dining, I just took some notes from a webinar that I had attended, but what's happening is, I had mentioned earlier about the governor's orders, the overall emergency order, and he has been renewing that every 3 weeks. However, who knows when that will stop. I believe the select board approved outdoor dining without having to have someone not review, but renew, amend their site plan approval to include the outdoor dining. Some of these restaurants don't have that on their site plan. And they extended it until the emergency order goes away. So I've had some inquiries from some of the businesses as to whether or not they can go ahead and continue with their outdoor dining. They want to start to get things set up. And I've basically said, as long as the governor's orders is still there, go ahead. And I talked to Derek about it, and Derek said, in order to extend this, just not COVID related, but just to allow this sort of on an emergency basis based on what's happened this past year, that it would require an ordinance by the select board. If you are a city, you can go ahead and pass certain ordinances. I'm not sure how the select board would do that. So that's why I attended this webinar. I didn't really get an answer to that question, but what I did find out is there's a Senate bill, it's 155, that was introduced to continue some of the governor's orders that will go away once he no longer renews. And someone tacked on an amendment, one of the senators tacked on an amendment, and he basically put writing in there which included extending the outdoor seating until 2023 for these restaurants. And I know some people are against it, but I think it's a great idea. And so I've been following it. So it passed the committee in the Senate that it was in. I wrote to all of the senators in that committee, encouraging them to continue, and as well as other people did. So they passed it. It did pass the full Senate. And now at some point in time, it's headed over to the House. And I really have no idea what will happen at that point. So I'm going to encourage the restaurant owners to contact the members of our representatives in the House, and hopefully that may work. However, I have no idea. So I'm just, giving you this information so that you have it for the future. But just in the city of Portsmouth alone, there are 26,000 restaurant seats. I mean, so this really matters. It's very important to these restaurants to be able to continue this outdoor seating without having to go through the planning board approval. And it worked out fine last year. I think we really only had 4 restaurants that took advantage of it. But it's really helping those 4 restaurants. And I highly recommend that we get on board with this.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Recommendation for appointments.
So it's kind of silly, but even though these people were just appointed,
I was just going to say, yeah.
They have to be reappointed because the term that they were appointed to expired in March. So it's for Charlie, Jeremy, and Dick Bruno, and they've all filled out the applications. And if you make a motion to recommend their reappointment, we will send it off to the select board.
So moved.
Individual motions, or do they have to be singular?
I think singular, or I'm sorry, I think as a group is fine unless someone has a problem.
Nope.
Okay. No.
I'll move that we recommend Charles Birchmeyer, is it Birchmeyer, Jeremy Jones, and Dick Bruno to continue on the EDC.
Second.
All right. Joanne?
Yes.
Chet?
Yes.
Can people who are being nominated vote for themselves?
Yes, they can.
Okay,
They can?
Charlie?
I say yes.
Okay, Ellen?
Yes.
All right, and Jeremy?
Can I get back to you on this one?
Okay, yeah, sure. Well, I
Yeah.
didn't ask, so I'm saying yes, so.
Yes.
All right. All right, I also vote yes. All right, well, congratulations on being renominated. And I believe that is it for us. Our next meeting is Cinco de Mayo, 2021 for,
Oh, we need to wear our Mexican hats and bring some margaritas.
yeah. Okay with that
Does
too.
anybody know, when can we start meeting in person? Oh, we're waiting for the select board, right? To
Yes.
approve it? Was that a previous discussion?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I can update you on that. The select board, the mandate happened, and we are looking at the review for May 1st. So I think that will come up in the second meeting in April.
Okay.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
All right. I need a motion to adjourn.
So
Move
moved.
to it. Second,
All right, Joanne,
Yes.
Chet,
Yes.
Charlie,
Yes.
Ellen,
yes.
Jeremy.
Yes.
I also vote yes. Have a great month. I look forward to seeing you all on May 5th.
Good night,
Take care.
everyone.